Welcome back. Well, thanks to the sequester, the Department of Justice has said it may release criminals back onto the streets. But that's not stopping the DOJ from throwing some lavish conferences on the taxpayers' dime. Here to explain is member of the House Judiciary Committee, Congressman Trey Gowdy. He joins us this morning. Nice to see you, Congressman.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing well, and it seems like the Department of Justice is doing well with some of these conferences and some of the other lavish things that they've got going on, some of which include this that you've brought to light. $121 million for 1,832 conferences. That's a lot of conferences. That's a lot of talking from 2008 to 2009. Pizza parties. Not just for kids. No, the DOJ does it. $10,000 spent by the Hartford Police Department on pizza parties using DOJ grant money. Flying in style, over $11 million in private jets for the Attorney General and the FBI Director to fly around on private jets. And this, $165 million for a prison that sits empty. So, Congressman Gowdy, what got in your craw about all of this and decided to start looking into this?
Well, and you were gracious enough not to include the $12 cups of coffee and the $6 can of soda. What bothers me is the Department of Justice, to me, is not just another political entity. It is a symbol. It should be a symbol for truth. We're asking Americans all across the country to tighten their belts, and they have to make choices, and sometimes they're very hard choices. So when the President of the United States says we're going to drop criminal cases and we're going to let criminals go free, because the sequester, and the reality is you're spending $70 million on conferences. I was a federal prosecutor. I know what it's like to need training. I would walk to the room next door to mine and ask Will Lucius and David Stevens, who are two seasoned prosecutors, what do I need to do? I didn't need to go to Las Vegas. Right. I could go to the office next door. You have to make tough decisions, frankly, even in times of austerity, but in times of prosperity. But in times of austerity, when you're asking other people to tighten their belts, you need to cut out the conferences, cut out the $12 cups of coffee, and by all means, don't buy a prison that everyone warns you you didn't need and you couldn't afford.
Is this a simple case of, and this is no excuse because to me it's outrageous, but is this a simple case of bureaucracy? Hey, we can't move the money around. You're right, we've got these U.S. attorney staff reductions because of the sequester. We may leave criminals go. But you know what? We just don't have the clerical wherewithal to move the money from the pizza parties over to hiring and keeping on members of the U.S. attorney staff.
What a sad reflection of our republic if that were true. Think back a couple of weeks ago, John Morton came before Judiciary and said he had to release 2,200 detainees because he couldn't move money around, and what we found out is he never asked. All it takes is a single request to Congress, and Congress doesn't even have to vote on it. Just a single request from the Attorney General, look, I would rather spend less money on coffee and soda and more money on criminal prosecutions. Is that okay with you? I bet you it would be 435 to zip, that vote. If we took a vote on keeping criminals prosecuted as opposed to $12 cups of coffee, that would be very bipartisan. But he didn't ask. And the President overplayed his hand with sequester, and now he's overplaying his hand with the Department of Justice. No criminal should ever be let go. When I was a DA in South Carolina, we had to furlough our employees. I had to furlough prosecutors, administrative assistants, investigators, victim advocates, because we had a budget shortfall. Not one single defendant was dismissed. Not one single case was neglected because of a budget shortfall.
Where we go from here, Congressman, the grilling of the DOJ staff this week, you had some tough questions. Where do we go from here? Are they going to be willing to look at some of these conferences, cut back? Did you get any answers?
Well, they have cut back some, in fairness to them. They've cut back. They're spending less than they did 2 years ago and spending less than they did last year. But it's a mindset. It's a mindset that we're going to play a political game when we're asked to cut. Keep this in mind. We took them back to 2009 spending levels, okay? We didn't go back to the Stone Age. We didn't go back to the Bronze Age. We went back to 2009. You mean to tell me you were letting criminals go in 2009? How different is the world in 3 years that you have to let criminals go because we're giving you the same amount of money we did 3 years ago.
Maybe back
I think
then,
what it illustrates.
it was a $5 cup of coffee, Congressman, back then. Now it's $12. That must be some fantastic.
Well, unless it comes with Cindy Crawford, I've never seen a $12 cup of coffee.
That's the kind of coffee we get served around here, although it's not Cindy Crawford. Congressman Gowdy, great to see you this morning, and thanks for doing this. We appreciate it. Up next on the Rundown.